There is a real battle royale now taking place between the infrastructure providers like Dell, HPE, Huawei, Inspur, Lenovo, NetApp, and the public cloud providers I've already mentioned. The infrastructure providers have probably not done a good enough job of selling against the public cloud. It is not true that the public cloud is cheaper. It's not true. It's not true that the public cloud provides pay-as-you-go services. Well, in fact, it is true, but if you're foolish enough to sign a contract that lets you pay as you go, you pay a lot as you go. You're much better off predicting and committing to a minimum amount of spend. That's how you get the best prices. But somehow the image of the industry is slightly different to the reality. The infrastructure vendors need to do a better job of selling against the public cloud. But what we are seeing now emerge is the key battleground in the industry. This is why IBM spent more than $30 billion buying Red Hat last year. The ability to be able to move data and applications from on-premise or a private cloud to a public cloud and maybe back again, to optimize for latency and for pricing. We are seeing a phenomenal battle here. VMware is far ahead. Nutanix and Red Hat trying to catch up. Whoever controls the plane between the compute and the customer will be in a very, very lucrative position to sit between and almost take the brand of the boxes away from the customer and own the management interface. There's been massive amounts of progress in terms of what is possible. VMware, within 2 years, signing up AWS and then signing up Microsoft Azure, to able to offer real multi-platform, multi-cloud solutions. That is the hottest battleground in the industry. We have a very clear recommendation. You need to work with at least 2 of these inside your portfolio so that you have a choice for customers and you have multiple bets. But as these companies become the key control plane of the compute infrastructure, there is an interesting question mark. Are customers prepared to be locked in to one of those 3 management platforms? They're going to put all their eggs in one basket. Customers are rather nervous to make such a big commitment to one platform. But also, if you're AWS or Azure, do you really want your customer to be owned by the layer above you? So the interesting question is, will the forces of the customers and the suppliers allow these 3 platforms to control the industry or not? That is the battleground inside the technology industry today, the biggest battleground inside the technology industry today. Now, I bet there's a group of companies that you guys are jealous of. The global system integrators. You go through every airport, and they seem to be the ones advertising the most. Accenture, through many acquisitions of small specialists born in the cloud companies, has become the largest provider of public cloud services in the world. And the other global system integrators are catching up. So we've done a little bit of analysis about how well these companies are doing. And I wanted to share something with you. By the way, it's very easy to predict share prices retrospectively. Had you invested in these companies 5 years ago, you would have doubled your money. It's been a very strong performance. Global accounts, committing to global system integrators, a lot of digital transformation projects, they've done very well. But if there's one slide I want you to take away from this presentation and reuse and think about, is what we call the IT channel has comfortably outperformed the global system integrators. But nobody knows it. Nobody talks about it. But had you invested in the leading, I'm afraid these are European and US companies because nearly all of you are private. If you invested in the leading channel partners over the last 5 years, you would have tripled your money. The channel is on fire. Investors are recognizing it. We're seeing private equity investing in channel companies. Most recently, the Apollo acquisition or likely acquisition of Tech Data. We're seeing public investment markets and private investment markets do very well. Now I want to give you another message. There are some American competitors of ours who tell you the channel doesn't have a future. It's run by aging people. They haven't transformed. They are completely wrong. It's nonsense, and particularly for the channel press here. Please get the facts right. The channel around the world is doing incredibly well. The big partners are doing well, and the smaller partners from every survey we do in every country is comfortably outperforming the performance of the technology vendors and the economies. We're a sector on fire, and that should be great news and what you're talking to your investors about. Your only thing holding you back is your confidence to believe in yourselves. I wanted to look a little bit more at who are the top 10 globally of the channel partners. These are your rivals. Most of them are virtually no presence in Asia, or a tiny presence in Asia. The largest channel partner in the world is CDW. They're very strong in US, Canada, and the UK. Another US company, Worldwide Technologies, in second place. Software One is a Microsoft-based company. In third place, they went public fairly recently. And then you see the full list. The ones in blue are based in the US, the ones in white are based in Europe. And again, another stat that should be very useful for you. As a group, these very large companies grew 11% in terms of revenues last 12 months. That means if you're not growing 11%, then you're losing market share. But we've spoken to many of you over the last 3 weeks, and most of you are growing more than 11%, and you should be very proud. We will see these companies enter Asia. They are exploring Asia. We are expecting some of them to make acquisitions in Asia. And also there are mergers and acquisitions happening between some of the big vendors, Insight and PCM, for example, merging earlier on this year. And the vendors have started to recognize this trend and thus starting to help the global channel partners become global with global channel programs. There has been a barrier to international expansion. You might be a gold reseller in Singapore, but when you enter Malaysia, it doesn't count for anything, and you have to totally re-qualify. And the vendors have recognized this and are starting to allow you, like the Dell program, the Titanium program from Dell, starting to enable you to enter other companies and carry accreditations on a much easier basis into new countries. The channel is on fire. You should be on fire. You should be very confident.